If you think you know a lot about the banana business, well, think again. There's been a gruesome, blood-stained history filled with pain and loss. One man, Samuel Zemurray, famously known as Sam the Banana Man, made millions of dollars through the banana trade. However, his wealth came with a heavy price: the bloodshed of human beings. As the business was peaking, many deaths arose, and these would create a massive shakeup in the banana industry. Fatalities of up to 2,000 people were recorded, while many were injured during the process. What were the mysteries in the banana business? It all started when a ship from United Fruit Company was landing at the port in New Orleans. Workers were unloading the cargo. While this was happening, Sam Zemurray was on the spot, seeing how the activity was taking place. And ironically, this was the first time Sam saw bananas. He was only 20 years old. During 1897, bananas were pretty uncommon. Not many had had a chance to see the fruit. As Sam was looking around, he saw workers eliminating ripe bananas, while the unripe bananas were placed in a special place. This was done because ripe bananas would rot as soon as they reached the marketplace, considering that transportation took so much time. However, the process made Sam curious. After thinking about it, he viewed the ripe bananas that were discarded as a way to make money. Sam didn't hesitate and implemented his idea right away. The first move was obtaining a container where he would run his small business. The location of his business was strategic, since his container was located at a railway station in Illinois, where many people would pass to board trains. He went the extra mile and chose another marketing strategy that would make his bananas sell quickly. Sam made a deal with an operator of a telegraph office, where the operator would receive a certain percentage of sales if he advertised Sam's bananas on the radio. Well, Sam now had all the pieces to kick off his business. However, it was risky since ripe bananas can rot quickly, so we had to make sure there were minimal delays. The business idea grew profitable as he sold 20,000 bananas in 1899 and later sold a whopping 574,000 bananas in 1903. Well, the business had paid off, and it was time for Sam to start his own banana company. So, Sam bought large portions of land in Honduras, specifically along the Cayamel River, after which he named his company Cayamel Fruit Company. In addition, he bought a steamship that would transport bananas overseas. It was at this time that Sam earned his nickname, the Banana Man, because he became increasingly wealthy and powerful. However, building a business in Honduras came with a lot of overwhelming conditions that would see Sam pay huge bribes to the Honduran government. The corrupt government also had a few deals with Sam, since they would give him loans and expand his business in Honduras. Then things took a drastic turn when the U.S. wanted the Honduran government to honor its debt payment. Since the U.S. government was focused on getting its money back, it gave J.P. Morgan the task of customs collection on Honduras. This affected the Honduran government, since they had to increase taxes to settle its debt, and this meant that the business would suffer. One business that felt the pain of the taxes was the Cayamel Fruit Company. Sam pleaded with the Secretary of the U.S., but his efforts, didn't bear fruit. It was at this time that Sam thought of overthrowing the Honduran government, since its current leadership made his business struggle. Moreover, Sam was keen on reinstalling Manuel Bonilla as president. But during that time, Manuel was banished and sent to exile. So, Sam gathered local rebels and bought an old U.S. Navy warship that ferried his fighters from overseas. It was now time for a military coup to take place. Many fighters died in the battle. However, Sam and his servicemen emerged victorious. And as per the plan, Bonilla was now the president of Honduras, and his inauguration took place in 1912. Now, Bonilla's reign was a blessing to the Cayamel Fruit Company, since it was rewarded with low taxes and more land was given to them, making Sam's company much more powerful and a force to be reckoned with. But the celebration was short-lived, as Sam's company was troubled by a rival company. The rival company was none other than the United Fruit Company. United was so powerful in the 1920s that it influenced the U.S. government. The rival company wanted to cement its dominance in the banana industry across the Caribbean countries. This is where Sam's company was given a rude awakening. After an intense rivalry, it was obvious that Sam was fighting a losing battle. So Cayamel Company seemed to lose, as the rival company had already established itself as a multinational company with locations covering countries like Colombia, Guatemala, and Costa Rica. However, this dominance would be tested after yet another bloody event weakened its status. Something happened to the United Fruit Company in 1928, and this event took the lives of thousands of people. On November 12, 1928, the United Fruit Company, based in Colombia, saw their employees staging demonstrations because of pay and work grievances. The complaints included low wages, as employees felt they were not rewarded adequately for their sweat. Another complaint involved poor working conditions, since employees live in unhygienic dormitories. 2. If an employee got into an accident at work, he or she would not be compensated, angering many of the employees. So the employees wanted to improve their health care as well, since the facilities were in bad condition. These were some of the many grievances that were put forward to the management of United Fruit Company. The strike grew bigger, as it was the biggest labor protest in that year, and it made the Colombian government feel uneasy. As a means of cooling down the situation, the Colombian army was sent to the region where the protest took place, and things ended up much worse. Heavy gunfire rang out, and many protesters were killed on the spot, with 2,000 lives lost. The dead were buried in mass graves as mourners condemned the attack, while the government had a peaceful way to approach the protest. After the unfortunate banana massacre, a lot of management shuffles took place at United Fruit Company as the organization looked forward to rebuilding its reputation. In 1929, the company decided to bury the hatchet with its rival, the Cayamel Fruit Company. In fact, there was a suggestion that the two companies should combine to form one. Sam agreed to that deal and made United Fruit Company the ultimate powerhouse in the banana industry. It also meant that Sam had new privileges, as he was now one of the top board members of the management of the newly integrated company. Even under the new leadership, the United Fruit Company was yet again hit by another strike. Protests came from its location in Costa Rica. The employees complained of exploitation and poor wages. It attracted the interest of various unions that were keen on pushing the workers' agenda. More than 30 different unions came in solidarity to re-energize the protest, and remarkably, more than 100,000 workers took part in that protest. In fact, the protest broke an historic record in Costa Rica, as most strikes didn't have nearly the large numbers as this one. It was now clear that employee welfare had to be taken seriously. However, the United Fruit Company took the grievances more casually and decided to ignore the proposals that were set by the unions. This only angered workers more, and many workers became aggressive. Many employees destroyed any property that belonged to United Fruit Company. As a result, many of the company's products and shipments were burned to ashes. These violent acts attracted the interest of law enforcement, who would retaliate to ensure that law and order prevailed in Costa Rica. Casualties grew as the strike intensified. Eventually, the strike made the United Fruit Company think twice about its decision, since the damage done by unionized workers kept mounting. The company didn't want to lose its grip in Costa Rica and decided to make a truce with its workers. The company agreed to pay workers on the proposed wage requirements and increased its medical care to improve the well-being of employees. This officially signaled the end of the strike after a few months of chaos and unrest. After a series of ups and downs, Sam decided to bid goodbye to his presidential position at United Fruit Company as he paved the way for new blood. He retired officially in 1951, and a decade later, he kicked the bucket.